Hello. Could IShowSpeed be a great fighter? Versus KSI, he got handed to him. He got beat up. He got pressured, cornered. A lot of the fundamentals KSI understood. He used them to exhaust IShowSpeed very quickly. And throughout that process, one thing remained true. IShowSpeed has great heart. He has great heart, which is one of the most important things you could possibly have when he takes a hit. He doesn't just give up. He gets up regardless of the pain. He's not conditioned. He's not conditioned to take punishment. He's not built for punishment, but he still took it. He got up. He tried again over and over again. And quite frankly, he was not disheartened throughout. He said, I'm still going to try regardless of what happens. This guy has heart, but he lacks something very important. Despite having physical attributes as well, he is an explosive individual. He doesn't have the best technique. He doesn't have the best footwork, even though he does have a great capacity for footwork. He has a great capacity for footwork, even though he doesn't have the best footwork. What does this mean? He can move in and out around the ring. He can move very quickly. He isn't very precise with his footwork. He isn't very good at judging the range. Instead, he does a lot of things that are weird and wonky, but he's very explosive naturally. He's a very explosive individual. He has athleticism naturally. So what is he missing? The most important thing when you enter a gym is humility. They always say, leave your ego at the door. He doesn't have humility. When he went in, even in the stare down, you can tell. He's very confident. He didn't even flinch. His soul is very confident. It doesn't know that it doesn't know. And that's dangerous. It's a double-edged sword. You need that when you have all the tools, when you have everything reinforcing the skills, the aptitude is reinforced, it's cultivated. When you have the other things, that kind of mentality is very important. But when you don't have it, it's a double-edged sword, and it can kind of work. It can kind of keep you there, but it will let you get hurt. You'll get hurt and hurt and hurt until you find out. You mess around, you find out. And that's what KSI kind of did. He tested IShowSpeed's heart. IShowSpeed has great heart, but he also showed him that he doesn't really have the tools to hang in there with KSI. KSI could do whatever he wanted to. If it was a real fight, it'd be over real quickly. Just pressure him, get him tired, beat him up, wail on him, and just, it'd be a horrible fight. KSI is a far superior fighter. He knows what he's doing compared to IShowSpeed. IShowSpeed had very few fundamentals, but because he's not humble, because he has a very big self-perception. He has a very big self-perception, but he's not humble. He doesn't have the techniques reinforced. If he took that natural athleticism and then combined it with his aptitude for having confidence, if he lowered himself, if he just lowered himself and said, I'm going to learn how to punch effectively, sharp. I'm not going to just throw haymakers. I'm going to throw sharp punches. I'm going to learn how to do that. I'm going to learn how to set up haymakers if I want to do that. And I'm going to learn how to precisely move my feet in and out at the right time, at the right place, when and where correctly. Learning how to put my feet at the right place at the right time. Learning how to do that and harnessing my natural aptitudes in this way by cultivating technique. If I humble myself to the formulas, to the methods, to the processes, if I humble myself to that, IShowSpeed could be a great fighter. He's very athletic. He has quick reactions. He's got a lot of things going for him, but because he's so confident, because he has so much self-belief, he lacks the humility needed to actually forge the necessary components of technical fighting. He lacks technique, and that's what he's missing. He needs to go to a gym, leave his ego at the door, humble himself. If he has to lower his head and say, please teach me something so that I can be sharper. He needs to be sharp. If he can learn how to be sharp instead of being all over the place and chaotic and essentially being a talent with unrefined skill. Instead of leaning on that talent, he knows he cannot get hit. And there's a lot of confidence when you can go up against someone and say, okay, you're going to throw something? I'm quick enough to move out of the way. He's that athletic. KSI's been doing this for a while now. He knows what he's doing. He could beat him up at will once he gets tired, once IShowSpeed gets to beat him up at will. But quite frankly, IShowSpeed is a talent. And if he cultivates that by going to the gym, learns how to punch sharper, learns how to do footwork sharper, keeps himself close to the ground, learns how to shift in and out in a very effective, harmonious way, learning how to take angles and step into angles in a sharp way, he'd be very good. He'd be very good. He's a very skillful individual, but he lacks humility. The most important thing in martial arts is humility. You don't learn anything without humility. You always... One of the craziest things I've ever seen, I was teaching this guy to kick one time, and the guy, big guy, very powerful guy, he threw a kick, blasted it, but it wasn't that good. I was like, I can kick harder than that, and you're way bigger than me. The moment I showed him humility, I said, focus on being humble. This is kind of what the energy feels like. It's like you just accept where you are. Just accept where you are. Just accept yourself for where you are and accept that you have a lower place. The moment he learned humility, he kicked me so hard that it blasted my leg and it hurt. It seriously, like through the thing that I was holding, the pad, the tie pad that I was holding, he blasted me. And it's like the moment you learn humility, it's a catalyst for learning technique. You learn technique way faster when you're humble. Way faster, and you're way more powerful because you focus less on your natural aptitude, you focus less on the force you can generate, and you focus more on the technique. And what is force? It is mass times acceleration. It is the technique that you have and the technique you leverage and the speed at which you can leverage that technique. That is force, the speed at which you can leverage technique. The cleaner your technique and the faster you can do it, the more force you generate. But if you don't have the technique because you keep forcing everything, if you don't have all the micro movements down because you're trying so hard, you're going to lose out on technique, which will minimize your force. You'll lose speed, and even if you don't lose speed, you'll lose the precision of movement needed to harness your mass effectively. That's what he was lacking as well. But IShowSpeed, he could be a great fighter. He just needs to be humble. He needs to be humble and he needs to go to a gym, lower himself and say, please teach me. Please teach me how to be sharp. He needs to find a place that'll make him sharp. That's the right word, that's the right feeling, sharp. If he gets sharp with his natural gifts, if he becomes more controlled with his natural gifts, this guy could be a threat, a real monster. He could be dangerous. He has talent for sure, but it's a lesson for all of us. Versus someone who's more experienced, more humble, more disciplined, has more grounded self-belief. KSI has more grounded self-belief. He's very confident as well, but he's grounded. He's grounded because he comes in humble and he learns humble. I've seen his story. I've seen him come up. He's very humble. He's very humble, even though he has very, very high level of confidence. He's a great confidence. He's still very humble. That's the difference, really. That is the difference. KSI, I saw him learning from Michael Van Den Page one time. He just pure humble, like listening, ears open. But then I know he thinks he can beat just about anyone if he tries his best. And when you combine those two things, humility and self-belief, that's a recipe for greatness. That is a recipe for greatness. And hanging in there with Tommy Fury, just surviving and even having in his own mind a questionable victory that he thinks he won, that's, regardless of what you think of that, just surviving versus someone who did it all his life, bigger guy. It's an impressive feat. That's an impressive human being. That's what humility cultivates. It's the paradox. You have to have humility, but you also have to have self-belief. And you just have to accept where you are. Just accept where you are. And then from there, build a vision for yourself that is greater than the world around it currently. What do you think? This is my perspective on IShowSpeed and whether or not he can be a great fighter. I'd love to hear your perspective. Thank you all for watching. Peace.